In this class we are going to understand the third feature of OOP, that is what we call as encapsulation. Okay, so it is also one of the main feature of the OOP. So what is encapsulation? In general, encapsulation means packaging materials together into a single unit. Okay, this is what is general meaning of encapsulation. What is example? Example means capsule in medicine. Okay, so this is the best example. Let me explain here on the board. Here, let's see that. Suppose let me okay, now suppose you take one capsule, like let's say take this is one capsule, assume that this is a capsule. Okay, this is what a medicine capsule. Okay, medicine capsule. Okay, what does this particular capsule contains? That's what the point here. Okay, the capsule contains what? Some material. Okay, some material it contains. It contains what? Some material. Got it? Some ingredients it contains. So this particular thing, what I can say that this is what I mean to say is this is called as, or some material will present. Okay, material or ingredients, what we call as. Okay, then this packaging, okay, this packaging the material, okay, into a single unit. This is what single unit, is it clear? This single unit is called as what? Capsule. In this particular capsule, okay, it is packaged with what? Some material. Okay, and therefore this is what we call as encapsulation. So encapsulation is nothing but packaging some material into single unit. Okay, and this material performs some okay, operation. Okay, some action it is going to perform, action, or it have some behavior. Okay, it have some behavior. So what is the action is going to perform, or what is the behavior it is going to implement means, so it is going to cure cold. Okay, it is going to cure what? Cold, or it may be what? Cough. Okay, cough, or it may be what? Some fever, like etc. It is going to cure. So this is what the action. So like this particular capsule, okay, is packaged with the material and the behavior, or what we call as action. Okay, and this is what we call as encapsulation in general. Okay, so what do you mean by encapsulation in object oriented programming language? Okay, so how can you package the things in object oriented programming? Okay, suppose let us say that same capsule we will take here. Okay, this is called as what? Class. In object oriented programming, packaging can be done by using class. Packaging is done by using class. Generally, how many things that we can package in the class? So we can package variables. Okay, the material is variables. Okay, variables. So we can package what? Variables in the class. Okay, as well as we can package something, that is what we called as methods. We can also package what? Methods. Okay, so like this packaging variables and the methods as a single unit using class is called what? Encapsulation. This is what we called as encapsulation. Is that clear? Okay, so simply I can say that a class is an example of encapsulation, because class is the one which is packaging, which is binding, I can say that binding what? Binding variables and what? Methods in a one single place. Okay, this is what we called as encapsulation. Okay, so let us understand the nodes. Okay, in OOP, encapsulation is the concept of binding the data, means variables, and methods, means functions, that operate on the data into a single unit, what we call as class. So you got it here now, right? Now what is the, why we have to bind like this? This is what we are going to discuss. Okay, let me take this picture over here for future purpose. Okay, so this is what the picture I am copying. Okay, right. Now why we have to encapsulate like these variables and methods inside the class? Why? That is what now I am going to explain, why we have to encapsulate. Let me give you a simple example. Okay, let me give you a simple example on this. Let's take the example. Suppose there is a class present. Okay, class present A. Suppose some class A. Then we can create the variables as what? Private integer x is present. X is a variable that I am creating. So what happens with private access modifiers, what we call as, we understand the further. So private we cannot access outside the class. Like this, we cannot access the x outside the class, or using the object we cannot access outside the class. Okay. So we want to make some variables as what? Private. So private cannot be accessed outside the class. Then how can you allow to access this x outside the class? Means for that we have to write some public methods. Public void, I can write here set x, okay, which is going to set the value for the x. Okay. Now which is going to write, I write here public void, let's say print x. Okay, this is what, now I am going to say that sop x I am going to write. Simple example that I am giving. So what happens is, now the encapsulation, so encapsulation, what does it allow? Means it does not allow the variables to access outside the class. Like this, it does not allow. Means this is what we call as data hiding. This is what we call as data hiding. So encapsulation is going to hide the data. Okay, hide the data inside the class, so that the data cannot be misused. So here it is not misused. Okay, misused, I can say that. So data cannot be misused. So for that particular, now to access this particular data, some methods are defined inside the class. Okay, and using these methods, now we can perform the operations on this particular variable. How? Means I create an object to the class a, ob is equal to new of a. Okay. Now what does this object contains? As we have seen in the previous class, that is, it contains x. This contains what? Set x method, and what contains what? Print x method. Okay. Now using this particular methods, I can access what? The x. See, I can write ob dot, I can say that set x method I can call. Therefore this x method will be called, where x is stored with what? 10. X is stored with 10. Means this x is accessing inside the class only. It is accessing inside the class. It is not accessed outside the class. And this is what we call as security to data. Data means variable. This variable and the data present in the variable is have what? Security, because it is not directly accessed outside the class. See, directly not accessed outside the class. Okay, but it is accessed through methods, means some security it is providing to the variables or the data. Okay. Similarly, if I want to print that x value, ob dot, I can say print x, I can say. So when I say print x, now the x method will be called, where it is going to print the x value is what? 10. Okay. So like this, so why we have to package the variables and the methods inside the class? Means this variable should not be accessed outside the class directly. The variable should not be accessed outside the class directly. That provision we should not provide. Why we should not access outside the class? Means in order to provide security to the data or what? The variables. So in order to provide security to the variables inside the class, we have to use, okay, access modifier like what? Private. So if a variable is created as a private, then it cannot be accessed outside the class. Okay. Then now if you want to perform the operations on this particular x variable, private variable, you have to define the public methods. So these, using these public methods, now we can perform some operations on the private variable. Okay, like setting the value to the x variable, printing the value of x variable, like that. Okay. So final conclusion is that what is encapsulation? Means encapsulation is the concept of encapsulation is equal to, okay, data variables and what? Methods. Okay, binding of data variables and methods inside the class is called as what? Encapsulation. Okay. So encapsulation helps in data hiding and ensuring that sensitive data is not directly accessible from outside the class. So any secure information is there, that secure information you should not allow to access outside the class. For that particular purpose, encapsulation is generally used. Okay. So encapsulation programs are written using classes and objects in OOP. Okay. right? So what is the advantage of encapsulation? Means it is hiding the data inside the class, data hiding, security to the data, because data cannot be accessed, means variables cannot be accessed directly outside the class, and modularity of code, means like this we are writing the code inside the class using functions, right, like these methods. So writing this particular divide and writing the operations is called as modular programming. Okay, so writing the codes, okay, by dividing into parts using methods, this type of programming is called as modular programming. Okay, so these are three main advantages of encapsulation. Okay, let us take an example here. So let's say that a bank account is there. Bank account class, if you take the bank account class, contains some variables like customer name, account number, and balance. These variables should not be accessed outside the class directly, because it is a sensitive information. Okay, we have to provide some security to this particular information. That is why these variables we are creating as what? Private variables. So private variables cannot access outside the class, and this concept is called as data hiding. Okay, data hiding. Okay, so this particular customer name, account number, and balance will be hidden inside the class, and they cannot be accessed outside the class. Then how to then perform operations on these particular variables? Okay, operations means storing the values into customer name, account number, and balance, or printing the customer name, account number, balance, or depositing some amount into this particular balance. How these operations can be performed on these variables? In order to perform the operations on these variables, we have to use some methods. The methods can be setter methods, getter methods, or general methods, whatever the methods may be. Okay, so here this method is used to set the customer name. See, customer name will be passing and he will be storing here. Okay, then setting the customer account number. Account number is stored here. Okay, here this means, so forget about it, but you understand, this means this variable. Okay, so this particular customer name is assigned to this customer name, so account number is assigned over here. Okay, set balance method is assigning the balance to the balance variable. Okay, similarly get customer method is returning the customer name. Okay, get account number is returning the account number. Okay, balance is returning, get balance is returning the balance value. Okay, and this is a method to deposit the amount. So deposit method, to which you pass the amount value, that amount value will be added to the balance and is showing the message the amount is deposit so and so. Okay, like this, what does this methods is doing? These methods are performing various operations on this particular variables. Okay, so in this way, okay, combining these particular variables and the methods that perform operations on these particular variables inside the class, this mechanism is known as what? Encapsulation. Okay, and in the main, see, I create an object to this particular bank account, and using this bank account object we are setting the customer name King, and account number is what? So and so, and setting the balance 1000, and deposit is 500, and after that we are displaying the details of account details, like see, here we are getting the customer name, here we are getting the customer account number, and getting the balance. So we cannot access this directly. See, these variables we cannot access directly here. Okay, instead we are accessing that variables using the method names. Method names we are accessing. Okay, so this program, let us execute and see how it is working. So let me copy this program. Okay, copy this program. Okay, come to this particular Eclipse. Okay, I pasted here. Let me run the program. See, run the program. What is happening? See, this is how it is getting clear, right? Got it? So like this, what happens here? It is now, see, I cannot access the variables directly here. See, I cannot write the access sys out. Let me say that I cannot access the name, for example customer name. Okay, customer name is equal to, I cannot access directly like this. See here, account dot, okay, customer name. So I cannot write this variable. See, I am not getting the variable, this customer name variable I am not getting. See here, customer. Okay, customer name, see, I am not getting. Is that clear? So encapsulation does not allow to access the private variables of the class outside the class. So this class is starting here. Okay, this class is ending over here. Okay, outside this class we cannot access directly that particular members. Instead of that we access by using methods. Access by using methods. This is what we call as encapsulation. Okay. So this is what the main feature of what OOP, that is called as encapsulation. Okay.